Welcome back to the Metacast, people. We are back and live on LinkedIn today. So, you're seeing our sessions as we are and as real people now. It's been super exciting, and we are really pumped up for more conversations around the metaverse and Web3. Today, we have a special guest with us. Of course, you can see him right now, Gregor Maric, who is the CEO and Chief Metaverse Officer at ParallelOffice.io. Gregor, thank you so much for joining in. How would you like to start the session today?
Thank you so much, Ali, for the introduction, and thank you all of the listeners for tuning in today. My name is Gregor Maric. I'm the CEO of Parallel Office. At Parallel Office, we create immersive virtual experiences for businesses. So we take existing processes and we apply virtual reality to those processes, such as onboarding and employer recruiting and sales and so forth. We apply VR to that, and we add more value to the existing process. Now, right now, we're also in the process of building a decentralized metaverse, a whole building with different offices where companies can connect, rent out offices, work in this virtual office as if they are in their own office. But maybe I'll get into detail a little bit later about all the features and how it actually gets to be, you get to be more productive and efficient from a virtual office than actually from a real office.
Okay, that sounds very interesting, Gregor. We'll touch up on that in a bit. Greg, I just wanted to pick your brain and understand some of the use cases around the metaverse as of today. People think it's a far-fetched reality that in the metaverse, the real utility will be decades away, perhaps. But that's not the case from our research, our interviews, our conversations across the panel. Perhaps you could shed some light into some of the real use cases you're seeing as of today.
Absolutely. There has been a lot of hype, obviously, about the metaverse, what it means. Facebook rebranded itself to Meta. A lot of expectations, basically, from lots of businesses and lots of people. Also, expectations that maybe were not met by seeing how Facebook stock collapsed, how the expectations in what they were building did not meet the expectations. Virtual reality, or also branded or coined as the metaverse, has been used by businesses already for quite a long time to create digital twins, to do training, to do different applications in businesses that are very specific. What the push right now is to try to have businesses adopt VR on a daily basis. So not just specific employees that do specific things like design or virtual reality rooms or architecture and so forth, but actually people that are doing meetings, that are doing everyday work on the computer, now have the chance to do it from the metaverse. And this means that the adoption of the metaverse will be very wide scale, meaning pretty much any blue collar and white collar employee would have now a use case to use a VR device and to work from a metaverse.
Absolutely.
But just to add a little extra to the question that Taza made, that was what kind of are the business use cases right now that are being seen. So yeah, there was a lot of hype, a lot of expectations that were let down. There has been a push to make people work in the metaverse every day. That is not working that great as we see from Meta. So right now, what is the tendency is to identify specific processes. So for example, HR recruiting, or onboarding a new employee, or onboarding a new customer, or career days. So or sales presentations. So all of these are one-off situations where you would use the device. A new employee, for example, would use the device, would in an onboarding process would learn in an immersive environment, would get a chance to see the offices, would get a chance to maybe play a game, would have a completely immersive experience. Once that is done, the onboarding process has been more successful because the person can retain more of the information because of the immersive and memorable experiences. So what I wanted to say with all of this is that specific processes are being restructured with custom virtual reality experiences.
Definitely. And that sounds really exciting, to be honest. It's a really new perspective to bringing in employability into the market. Of course, a lot of people are now curious about stepping into Web3. People are curious about how the processes will be there in future. And we've had so many conversations around the previous sessions where this was a speculation that the way you actually take your jobs in the metaverse will be, and of course within companies will be extremely different from what they are right now. I think parallel office will be like a very good step into this whole scenario.
Yeah.
I want to know from you, Gregor, what could be, of course, we're seeing the benefits of how it could be bringing in the new perspective. What could be the potential drawbacks or challenges that you might be facing when it comes to recruitments or in the HR processes in virtual reality?
So what we're seeing right now in HR, or the main hurdles, is the lack of understanding and lack of knowledge of the technology, the requirements. Inside of the companies, there is no champion for VR. There's nobody that's championing it, that is bringing it. It's very unknown topic. Everybody knows that it can add value, but there is a lot of roadblocks: hardware, software, maintenance, licensing. So somebody has to be in charge instead of a company to all of these things. Kind of the first step that somebody has to get over, and that requires a lot of investment. Meaning, even to start any kind of VR project or a metaverse VR immersive project, you need to have all of those things figured out. You need to have a person that is dedicated, or a team. You need to hire either new resources or retrain already existing resources. So there is an initial challenge in just starting. After that, there's another challenge, which is data bandwidth, basically. So um, different applications that are built in VR can be built with different quality of the experience. Now, the quality is very important to create an immersive experience. One of the main flops for the Meta Facebook was that it looks very cartoonish and doesn't really immerse you inside of the experience. So if you're able to recreate something that is very immersive, that requires that you're going to require a lot of data. The headset is obviously not connected with a cable; it's standalone. It's connected with Wi-Fi. So to run all of this information, to process all of this information, you need to have hardware, software, and everything configured really well to make a really smooth, immersive, very immersive experience. Now, that is one of the things that we focus on at Parallel Office. We try to create the most immersive experience possible by using some advanced VR techniques, using AI to do face tracking, eye tracking, simulations of emotion, and so forth. So to really give you the feeling that you are sitting in front of another avatar, but that avatar feels real, like they're looking at you, they're smiling, there's a connection that is being created. So just to kind of conclude on the drawback or on the challenges that companies are still witnessing, there's also one I also think that is really important, is the lack of use cases. So we've heard about hype, we heard about kind of specific use cases, but these use cases are not industry wide, meaning that my competitor hasn't done it. I don't really want to be the first to take the shot to kind of experiment and see it fail. Let them experiment, fail a couple of times, and then I'll pick up from where they left off, and I'll do my use case.
Good. I want to bring you back, Gregor, to what you mentioned not a little while back. You said companies they don't have a champion, a metaverse champion. There's been a lot of talk about people having a chief metaverse officer in their companies. Do you think that is a likely case scenario in the future where we're going to see companies across the spectrum have someone solely dedicated towards this industry?
There is, obviously Dubai is predicting that their GDP is going to become larger from the metaverse than the actual GDP from their country. There is some islands that are getting covered underwater and are moving kind of their population to the metaverse. I don't know really how, but that's kind of what they're saying. There is cities that are going into the metaverse. So it's being adopted on different levels. Without sorry, would you mind repeating the question again?
Chief metaverse officer. Every company
Yeah.
potentially could have one in the future, how important will that be in integrating sort of like VR, AR, anything metaverse related into different functions within a company?
Absolutely. So we've seen already brands like Balenciaga and Gucci that have been pioneering NFTs initially and have started pioneering the metaverse as well, and 3D and virtual fashion. They have started the journey with consulting companies, but now they've hiring a department for innovation that is dedicated for Web3. And inside of that, there will probably be a resource for the metaverse. Other companies that might have a bigger use case, that might, for example, be like car companies or any other company that might want to do business inside of the metaverse, will require dedicated resources and a dedicated department for the metaverse.
Absolutely. Also, one more thing, Gregor, of course, there has been a conversation. A recent report came in that said that, you know, specifically in Asia, the metaverse could pump in $1.4 trillion by 2035. And that could be a yearly growth that could be experienced. Now, that means that there are a lot of jobs being created within this process, right? How would you say the processes of HR through VR could really impact the mindset of the end user, which could be a candidate, or a lot of companies who are hiring on a mass scale for these individuals. What do you say should be a candidate's mindset when they're going through processes like these?
So just to add on to Adi, he's there. You mentioned, Gregor, early on that immersiveness is a key factor in this, and you mentioned that you're testing out different ways to add on to that. I just want to pick your brain on how essentially the onboarding process for a candidate could be enhanced threefold, fourfold, perhaps, through these immersive experiences, and what is Parallel Office doing? If you can touch up on that a little more in depth, just so the users can understand the benefits of these technologies.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I was really waiting for that one because right now we are working on an onboarding process. So to understand that it doesn't make it just 2-3 times better, it makes it more than 10 times better. And here's why. The initial process meant receiving an email with different PDFs and different links to different videos that you have to watch. Now, after that, you do a test, and nobody passes the test on the first try or on the second. So the answers are always the same, and you get the answers just by kind of failing the test and then getting them correctly. Now, what we built is a immersive experience inside of the company's virtual office. We recreated their office in 3D space with their branding, with their lighting, with all of the features that are in their actual office that already gives the candidate an idea of where they're going to be working, of how it looks like, and it already gives them a sense of, wow, this is something really cool. Where am I? I'm already in the office. But this is where your kind of onboarding journey starts. You start by putting on the device, and you are greeted by a avatar that tells you a little story and tells you what is going to happen next. After that, you're left in this space, and it's up to you to discover different things. Once you discover the different things, you can the experience is over and you can quit. Different things such as you turn on a TV that is a big TV, and you can sit on a chair and watch a video about the room. After that, you can pick up a book that is on the table, and you're going to get a hologram that is going to tell you a little bit about the history, the headquarters, who the CEO is, and so forth. You then walk around the room, and there's hidden clues for you around to find behind different books. So you have to pick up different books in VR. It's all very interesting and pretty cool. Different books to find different clues or plants and different objects, and you piece out the different clues of this mini game. In the end, you move to the second floor, and there you play a shooting game where you shoot at the different answers that you think are correct. So how many headquarters does the company have? 3, 6, or 9, and then you shoot. And you can also shoot in other places and stuff like that. The idea is to give you freedom, to make it interactive, to make it memorable. So as you're doing all of this, 20 minutes have passed, you take this thing off, and there is really no need to test you. You remember because you were shooting a gun at the CEO of the company, so you remember his face and you remember his name, and it is a much more memorable experience. You're more ready to do your job. You're more happy to start the work, and it's also important to remember all of these things. That's why you do the onboarding. It's not just because you should learn how many headquarters and so forth, just because, but it's important that every employee knows all of this stuff. So in this way, we make sure that they really do and they enjoy learning it.
I like that. There's very much an interactive element to that, Gregor, which it's a paradigm shift for the way onboarding journeys have worked across big corporations and even medium small companies. I'm curious in terms of feedback for this process. What sort of feedback have you received from people that have gone through this process and have communicated that to Parallel Office?
So the majority of people has never tried VR, and trying it for the first time. These are young people, Generation Z mostly, that are doing the onboarding process. They are they're impressed. They are really shocked. Uh, they are really immersed and they love the experience. They really love the experience. But one thing is to love the experience. The other thing is, did it really work? Meaning, can they remember all of these things? So the effects are what kind of speaks for themselves. Everybody that goes in, nobody comes out not knowing the things. So it is really serving a purpose of improving that process, not just from a employer, but also it's improving it from the employee that is starting, and giving intangible benefits such as employee satisfaction and engagement and being trendy, and also that employee then goes back home and tells their friends, hey, you know what, I did this in VR with that company, it was amazing. Wow, your company is really cool, and so forth. And so there is a lot of intangible benefits as well.
I like it. Adi, do you have any sharing points?
I think it's very progressive. As far as I can see, it's high amount of recall for a company. I think this storytelling could be embedded into the candidate within. I think through these immersive experiences will absolutely change the game. And I if I were to be a candidate, I would have loved to experience something like this. First, it drives curiosity and also changes the way I see a company in a very huge way, because probably in the times I've applied to companies in the past, I've never seen that something like this. And
Yeah.
I'm envisioning that this would probably change the whole way of how people will be onboarded into companies. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean,
I'm curious. Very I have a question that you probably haven't answered to Gregor, but I want to just understand it a little more. Again, VR is the price point is quite high at this point. It's not accessible to the wider market. Do you offer this experience in a 2D format as well?
Absolutely not. So
Okay.
I think this is a little bit of confusion with the metaverse here. So when you say 2D format, we're basically talking about a video game, meaning what I have seen right now in 2D formats that is kind of business metaverses. They are very poor graphics or 2D really bad kind of video games that simulate avatar moving around like a Pokemon. It To me personally, it's subjective. It looks really bad. It doesn't bring me the immersiveness that I'm looking for. It doesn't give me any added value except just changing the experience. But that changing of the experience didn't bring me value, meaning didn't make me more productive, didn't make it more enjoyable, didn't make it more immersive, didn't make me connect more with friends, and so on and so on. So having a 2D kind of metaverse for business, I think that is, I'm sure there is use cases and some companies that might prefer it, but where I see actually the evolution is putting on the VR device, which is absolutely not expensive, meaning that it costs less than a computer. So if a company is looking to purchase a computer or a VR device, Quest 2 device is $500. Obviously, the Pro, the one that is the best Pro made for business, is almost $2,000, but it's compared also to the Pico, which is also $500. So, I mean, there is workarounds that you can actually get VR devices at a good price and actually start changing and transforming your processes with immersive experiences, obviously for the processes that make sense.
Okay. Got it.
Definitely. Yes. Perfect. I think, Gregor, I think it's been an amazing session today. Very new perspective has been introduced to not just like all three of us, but of course to the world. And it's a signal that, I think the way we're gonna be onboarding the companies, the way we're gonna have conversations, and we're gonna embed the values of companies, it's gonna be really different how when Ria steps in. And the future is really good in terms of how we're seeing this. But I mean, it's amazing session. Thank you so much, Gregor. It's been lovely to have you with us today. Any closing thoughts, please?
Thank you, Gregor.
Thank you, guys. It's been an honor. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the listeners for tuning in and for listening.
Absolutely. Guys, this session will be available on YouTube as well as on Spotify. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Gregor Maric today joining us from paralleloffice.io, and we will see you really soon. Thank you so much, guys.